table that was throwing me off.
Good evening and welcome to a conversation with the Mutts. I am the Celtic Mutt.
And I am Mrs. Mutt.
Tonight we are going to discuss the cryptids of Wisconsin. So, being that Mrs. Mutt is from that area, this is more her field of expertise than mine. So you're going to get to hear more of her voice tonight than you will mine. So take it away, love.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, just so we're clear, I do have the actual definition of a cryptid according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. They define it as an animal such as Sasquatch or the Loch Ness Monster that has been claimed to exist but never proven to exist. The first one I'm going to start with is the Beast of Devil's Lake. And I chose this one because I absolutely loved to go to Devil's Lake.
Where is Devil's Lake?
It is located in Sauk County, just a bit south of Baraboo, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Yes. Which, if any of you know, Baraboo has, if I remember right, it is known for having Circus World Museum.
Okay.
Which I remember going to as a child and riding an elephant.
Really?
Yes.
You rode an elephant.
I rode an elephant.
I've
My
never ridden an
aunt
elephant.
made me
Ride the elephant?
pose like an Egyptian with the hands.
Oh, God.
Like, yeah. In order to ride the elephant. I had to do that in order to ride the elephant.
But elephants aren't.
I know they're not Egyptian. I can understand having to do that on a camel.
Yeah, it's not an elephant.
Yeah, not an elephant.
No, that's
That's why it never made sense to me.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make sense to anyone with any sense.
No. Yeah.
Anyway, that's just a little strange. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, go on.
Devil's Lake State Park is actually Wisconsin's largest state park, and then of course the central feature is Devil's Lake itself. It covers 360 acres and is surrounded by cliffs of quartzite reaching heights of 500 feet.
Quartzite?
Quartzite.
What is quartzite?
It's a stone.
Mama,
I don't know how to.
Was Mama a Rolling Stone?
Oddly enough, there's a city or town, I don't know which, I've been at least through the edge of, in Arizona named Quartzite.
Okay.
In 1832, a French agent of the American Fur Company named John de la Ronde visited the lake and noted that it was the echo effect of the bluffs and the quote-unquote darkness of the place, which inspired the French voyageurs, which I'm not sure why, but voyageurs is actually capitalized, to call the place Devil's Lake.
Wait, did you say the French voyageurs?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. The reason being is that that is a specific group of. It's exactly what they said it was, but that was the official name that they took.
Okay. LaRonde also mentioned an older indigenous tradition. Quote, the Indians gave it the name of holy water, declaring that there is a spirit or Manitou that resides there. I saw a quantity of tobacco deposited there for the Manitou. The Indians who
are we talking about those things that people used to mistake for mermaids? Or is that a manatee?
That would probably be a manatee. This is not the ocean. This is a freshwater lake in the middle of Wisconsin.
Okay, so we're not talking of a manatee.
No.
We're talking Manitou is something completely different.
Right.
I got you.
The Indians who considered the lake sacred were the Siouan-speaking Ho-Chunk people.
Ho-Chunk.
and their beliefs concerning the lake were part of an ancient and widespread cosmological model of the eastern woodlands, the Great Lakes, and the plains.
I have a question. So, when the Ho-Chunk tribe split, did they become the Half-Chunk?
There's still Ho-Chunk Indians in Wisconsin. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry,
I
folks.
didn't say whole chunk.
I'm sorry, folks.
Whole.
And if there are any Ho-Chunk, people listening, I'm sorry for the bad joke. I apologize.
The Indians, the three worlds at Devil's Lake. The model consists of a tiered or layered cosmos composed of three basic worlds. The sky world is the region above where birds and flying things live. It is also the habitation of the great thunderbirds, the stars, the sun, the moon, and the Creator. The earth world is the domain of mankind, plants, animals, and natural features. It could be called our world or the world of the living. The earth world is a flat or disc situated upon and surrounded by a primordial sea. The third world is the underworld, a vast water-filled region immediately beneath the earth world. This underworld is the home of fish, snakes, and aquatic animals. It is the domain of the great serpent and his minions. These powerful beings often enter the earth world through natural springs, rivers, and lakes, which are connected to the underworld oceans by a system of caverns.
I find it interesting that it seems every generation, or not generation, but most cultures have a great serpent. I mean, you've got Jormungandr for the Nords, and then you've got the great serpent, and you've got, I mean, it's just, I kind of find that a little bit interesting.
From what I was reading, this is supposed to be that serpent.
This is supposed to be
a serpent in Devil's Lake.
Okay, now is this serpent supposed to be able to encompass the entire earth?
Again,
or does it say?
Powerful beings often enter the earth world through natural springs, rivers, and lakes, which are connected to the underworld oceans.
So yeah,
by a system of caverns.
So it sounds like
so they can maneuver through the rivers, streams, and lakes of the earth world through the underworld oceans.
Oh, the reason I was asking was because Jormungandr can literally wrap himself around the earth and attach his tail into his mouth. So that was kind of
they're not saying that.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of asking.
He's that big,
right?
They're saying he can
dimensionally
by the system of caverns
he can
the underworld oceans. He can maneuver through the natural springs, rivers, and lakes.
I got you. No, I understand.
Okay.
That was just for anybody out there who might not have.
Right. Now, I lived in Elkhorn for a while.
Okay.
And that's why the next one caught my attention.
Okay.
And that is the Beast of Bray Road. And this one, folks, you can actually watch a documentary. I believe it was on Prime.
The Beast of Bray Road.
Right.
No.
So you can actually watch that. It's actually based on information that an author got and wrote. And I can't think of her name. I may actually mention it here in a little bit, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. It hasn't been cited for a while.
Okay.
But it was first spotted by a night watchman at St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children in 1936. It was described as a hairy, humanoid creature between 6 and 7 feet tall, closely resembling either a bear or a wolf. it was actually heard to speak or try to. Its speech was said to be half human, half beast. There was also the stench of rotting flesh accompanying the beast. He saw the creature. He never saw the creature again. Actually, he saw it for 2 nights in a row. But the encounter remained with him for the rest of his days. That was the first of many encounters with the Bray Road beast. Throughout the 80s and 90s, more witnesses would come forward claiming to have encountered the quote-unquote Wisconsin werewolf, each with their own theory as to what it might be. Now, Elkhorn, Wisconsin, in 1936, it's a small rural town, picturesque and charming, with a population of roughly 6,500 people. It was known as, quote, the Christmas card town.
Christmas card town, okay.
Surrounded by a rich prairie, dotted with cornfields and dairy farms. It's about an hour's drive from Madison and about an hour's drive from Milwaukee. It's an almost idyllic place, not the sort of setting you'd hear about in a true crime podcast. But something was about to change Elkhorn forever. Enter Mark Shackleman, a night watchman at a Catholic convent and school known as St. Coletta. I thought this was interesting. This is the very same St. Coletta where Rosemary Kennedy was housed after her father, Joseph Kennedy, had her lobotomized for quote-unquote agitated depression to combat her sometimes violent mood swings in 1941.
Oh, yeah, good old Rosemary.
Around midnight, Shopperman was walking through the fields near the school when he saw something perched upon a nearby Native American burial mound, which those are all over Wisconsin.
Right. I've heard that there were a lot of, that you all have a lot of those here.
Well, I went to high school, a majority of my junior high and high school years in Beloit.
Right.
There's a college there called Beloit College. They have burial mounds on site. I walked on some of those. Yes.
Oh wow.
I walked some of those mounds.
Oh wow. You you intentionally walked
around
the grave,
not on them.
I was gonna say that's a little. I was gonna say I didn't expect you to be that disrespectful. But okay.
The creature appeared wolf-like, yet standing upright, and appeared to be clawing at the ground. Shackleman approached the creature to get a better look, but it fled.
Welcome.
The following morning, Shackleman told his wife about the creature, describing that its thumbs and little fingers appeared shriveled.
When you say shriveled, do you mean like they were
just noticeably shorter than the other on its hands?
I didn't know if you meant shriveled like
that's all it explains is noticeably shorter.
Just so that we give proper credit, where are you getting this? Where was this information gotten from?
Oh fudge, I forget where. See if I listed the site for this one. I would have to maybe look. Yeah, this one I would have to look back.
Okay, no worries. Go ahead.
Let me get back to where it was.
Okay.
I had to scroll down to see if I apologize, folks. Okay. During the daylight hours, Shackleman returned to the mound and discovered raking marks in the dirt. After dusk passed and gave way to night, Shackleman returned to the mound and once again saw the creature. This time, however, it did not flee.
Ooh.
It stood and faced Shackleman, who later estimated it to be nearly 7 feet tall. He said the creature was, quote, covered with dark or black hair, gave off a bad odor like long dead meat, eyes that looked right into me, and it made a sound. It was a 3-syllable growl, low and mean, something like Gadara. with the accent on the second syllable. Now, keep in mind, Mark Shackelman was in his mid-30s, a strong and capable man, and a former heavyweight boxer.
So he was definitely in shape.
But the encounter made his hairs on his neck stand up on end. Some who heard Shackelman's story assumed the creature must have been a hellhound, a creature often found in ancient European and biblical literature. The growl of a hellhound was described by writer Bob Trubshaw as a, quote, halfway station between articulate speech and silence, filled with emotion and power, but utterly lacking in reason.
And is this the only because I'm having people jump in and out? This is the Beast of Bray Road that we're discussing
Yes.
still? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify for the audience because I've had a couple jump in that I'm sure were lost as to where we were.
Then there was what Shackelman had heard the creature say, Gadara, which shares an uncanny resemblance to Gadara, a site mentioned in the Bible as the location in ancient Judea where Jesus exorcised a demon-possessed man, quote, coming from the tombs, just as the creature Shackelman saw had been clawing at a burial mound. Shackelman's story ends there. The creature he saw atop the burial mound vanished for a time, or perhaps it simply lay in wait. As nearly 50 years after Shackelman's encounter, stories of the creature once again began to surface. Throughout the 80s and 90s, sightings of the Bray Road beast rose in prominence. Though mostly seen around Elkhorn, locals also reported sightings of the beast as far as Walworth, Racine, and Jefferson County. The first of these recent encounters with the so-called Wisconsin werewolf occurred in the tail end of 1989, around 1:30 a.m. Lori Andreezy was driving home along Bray Road from a lounge in Elkhorn called the Jury Room, where she worked as a manager. There, off to the side, she saw a massive creature, its back turned to her. But as she continued along the road, she glanced back and caught it from the front. She says it was kneeling. Its elbows were up and its claws were facing out. Oh, pardon me. Its elbows were up and its claws were facing out. So I knew it had claws. I remember the long claws. She said it seemed to be holding something between those long claws, perhaps roadkill. But unlike many animals, which would turn and run when headlights were aimed at them, this creature instead turned and stared at her. Terrified, Andreezy drove home. It was night. Quote, it was night, and it was quite late, but I know what I saw, Andreezy said. You don't mistake something like that. To this day, I believe it was satanic. It was just my feeling. I don't believe in werewolves per se, but I believe something could be, well, conjured up. 2 years later, another local named Doris Gibson claimed to have seen the beast. It was Halloween night, 1991. Gibson was driving along the road through the fog when she hit something and felt her front tire lift off the ground. After driving another 50 feet, she stopped the car and got out to assess the damage to her car and to whatever she might have hit. There was nothing on the road behind her. As she made her way around the back of the car, it came running out of the woods. Here comes this thing, and it's just running at me, she said. It was no dog. It was bigger than me. I've never seen a human run like that, and my uncle was a track star. Gibson quickly got back in her car and slammed her foot on the gas. At that same moment, the creature caught up to her car and landed on the trunk, only sliding off because it had become slick in the rain. Gibson said she felt she'd have been dinner had the beast caught her, but she managed to escape. Except later that night, she saw it again.
Same thing?
Yes.
Exact same creature. Wow.
If it wasn't the exact same creature, it was a twin, apparently. She says she picked up a friend from a party, and on the way home, that friend pointed out the window and screamed, "Look at that thing." Gibson wasted no time in speeding away, and when she got home, she now noticed claw marks on the back of her blue Plymouth Sundance. Gibson later described the creature as, quote, "a freak of nature, one of God's mistakes." For the most part, sightings of the, quote, again, Wisconsin werewolf have dropped off since the 90s, but a few still believe the creature lurks in the brush along Bray Road. And of course, there are those who never believed in it to begin with.
Now, have you ever been down Bray Road?
No, not to my knowledge. If I have, it's been during the day.
Yeah, I got you. So most of these sightings, have all been at night.
Yes.
Ironic.
Now I saw, of course, I did watch that video, that movie that was on Prime. They talked about people going down I-43, which runs from Beloit to Milwaukee, and I'm not sure where it goes from Milwaukee.
Well, yep, go ahead.
They talked about a couple, for example, going down that interstate,
right,
and looking toward the north side of the interstate, and I believe toward the north side, and seeing a creature. There were those that saw a creature standing upright,
right,
and then it would go down on all fours and run. Did somebody ask something?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, right now there's nobody in the chat. We've had people popping in and out.
Okay.
So,
this one I thought was just kind of cute. The bizarre phantom chickens of Seymour.
The phantom chickens of Seymour?
Yes. Supposedly there are ghostly chickens haunting the corner of Chicken Alley and Shady Road near Seymour, Wisconsin. The story goes like this. People driving through the intersection report that chickens appear, but then mysteriously disappear just before the car hits them. Admittedly, quote, admittedly, this legend doesn't come with a slew of eyewitnesses, nor are ghost hunters lined up to conduct overnight investigations at the corner of Chicken Alley and Shady Road, nor are there solid origin details. Dan Higgins wrote in a story for the Green Bay Press Gazette in 2017. The legend includes a disembodied voice yelling at people to get out of the intersection if they linger on the road.
Oh.
Unlike other Wisconsin cryptids, the phantom chickens haven't really endured through the passing of time. But they have inspired a tongue-in-cheek post on a geocaching website that includes a picture of Casper the Ghost in the middle of the crossroads. Quote, if you look closely in this actual unretouched photograph, you can faintly make out what appears to be a ghost in the photo, the author of the post wrote.
Somebody had a little fun with it.
Yeah. The next one. I did live in Madison for a few years.
Right.
And Madison, for those that don't know, is home to UW-Madison, University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Right.
Home of the Badgers. So that's my second favorite college team.
Right behind Nebraska.
Kiss my hiney.
Okay, honey. I don't think that's going to be appropriate
I
for
root
this
for the
stream.
black and gold. The only way I root for the red and white is the Badgers.
I see. So she roots for sad chickens. Again, little rivalry here. But anyway, go on, love.
How can it be a rivalry when your team doesn't play my team?
That's a good point. That's a good point, and I don't have an answer for that.
You just like to pick on me.
Yes, that's true.
Anyway, now this one I went into a little bit more in depth.
Okay.
This is Bozo, Bozho, of Lake Mendota,
So
which
this
is one of the lakes.
So I have to ask, does the clown rise up out of the
No,
water?
I will explain why it's how they got the name Bozo.
Okay.
Of Lake Mendota.
Welcome. Enjoy yourselves up in the lurker loft. If you have any questions, by all means, feel free to ask.
Lake Mendota is a 9,781 acre picturesque lake which sits alongside the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Known as the largest of the 4 lakes in Madison, it's as well as the most studied lake in the United States.
Question.
Yes.
You say there are 4 lakes in Madison.
Yes.
Are they all 4 part of the Great Lakes, or
No. None of these are the Great Lakes. These are smaller lakes.
Okay.
Your Great Lakes for Michigan,
right?
yeah,
Superior,
Erie,
Huron. That was the other one.
There's 5.
I can't remember.
The 5th one's not coming to me. But no, Lake Mendota, I can't think of the other 3. But no.
Okay.
None of these are the Great Lakes.
I was just curious if they might have been tributaries or part of the Great Lakes.
No, they're centered, more center and a little bit south.
I got you.
In a little bit of the south central Wisconsin. Again, this is the most studied lake in the United States. Lake Mendota has been a social gathering spot for locals since the city was founded in 1829. Fed by the Yahara River, the lake sports a maximum depth of 83 feet, 21 miles of shoreline, which contains 5 beaches and fish species, which include sturgeons, muskies, and northern pike. But what many outside of Wisconsin don't know is that at one point, a monster was said to have called Lake Mendota home. Bozo, whose name is a shortened version of either the Potawatomi word Manabozo or the Algonquin word Winnabozo, which I tried to look both of those up. And the closest I came up was an Ojibwa, I believe, word of Nanabozo, which is a trickster god who plays into the creation of the earth. Anyway,
Nanabozo, huh?
Something like that. Bozo was first reported in the late 1860s by a couple canoeing out on the lake. As they made their way to Governor's Island, the couple accidentally hit what they thought was a log with one of the oars. After being struck, the quote-unquote log began to thrash a bit in the water before sinking back down below the surface. The couple quickly headed back to shore and later wrote of their encounter, quote, "We were not too long in deciding that retreat was the better part of valor, and we resolved to say nothing about the matter."
Yes, probably wise choice.
While silence seemed the best course of action for the first witness, Bozo was not one to just sit around and let its presence go unnoticed. It shut up again nearly 20 years later on June 27th, 1883. The second encounter with Bozo would not be as calm as the one which preceded it, though. And the fear which was put into the witnesses who were there that day would never be forgotten. While out in their boat enjoying the water, a married couple known from reports as Mr. and Mrs. Dunn encountered what could only be described as a gigantic 25-foot greenish black snake. Which makes me wonder, is this the Devil's Lake beast? Did he just move through the underground oceans? As the pair made their way across the water, the creature appeared from below the surface and began to follow them. Taking notice of what was approaching, Mr. Dunn began to row faster. But the snake-like creature was swimming too fast for them to safely get away. Suddenly, the beast hit the side of the boat and tried to slither its way in. Panicked, the couple started to beat the creature with their oars in hopes of keeping it out of the boat. But the monster was relentless. Not knowing what else to do, Mr. Dunn picked up a hatchet that was kept in the boat and hit the beast in the head and body. The creature finally stopped trying to enter the boat and slid back down into the water. Trembling, Mr. Dunn picked up the oars and rowed back to shore, all while his wife kept an eye on the water around them in case the monster decided to return. Bozo, possibly recovering from his wounds given to it by Mr. Dunn, would keep it to itself and not be seen again until the 1890s. These sightings would all be reported by multiple people, and none of them would be as extreme as the one in 1883. In 1892, multiple witnesses, both on shore and in the water, reported seeing a large creature that resembled a snake undulating through the water. The lake monster was often seen moving in a direction toward Esther Beach and would be sighted for a few minutes at a time. Bozo would break the surface, glide forward with the majority of its body exposed in a hump-like formation, and would then dive back down under the water. In 1897, a man by the name of Eugene Heath vowed to catch the serpent in the lake after it was reported that a large number of dogs were being swallowed alive while swimming in the water.
What?
Like most monster hunters, though, his was unsuccessful. 2 years later, in 1899, two women would report coming face to face with Bozo accidentally. This would lead to one of two of the more humorous reports of the serpent on record. As the pair were making their way to shore, the creature quickly surfaced in front of their boat. The women, who were understandably frightened, screamed at the sight of the large snake-like head rising before them. Bozo, also apparently frightened at the boat directly beside it, quickly thrashed around and dove back down in a hurry. The commotion caused a great deal of foam to rise up from the water and nearly knocked the boat over in the process. Sightings of Bozo from a distance would continue on for years as usual. But the first piece of physical evidence that something unknown was living in the lake came in 1917. One day while out walking alongside the lake near Picnic Point, a university student came across a large unknown scale.
Like a snake?
Like a fish's scale.
Like a fish scale, okay.
Or a snake scale
Mm-hmm.
that had washed up on shore. Intrigued by the sheer size and thickness of the scale, the student brought it to one of the professors at UW-Madison for study. After being tested for quite some time, the scale was officially unable to be identified. The closest anyone could tell was that this scale was from a sea serpent and must have come from Bozo. Like most cryptozoological evidence, though, the scale has been lost, and only the story of discovery lives on.
But not muskies, but I'm not as familiar with freshwater fish as I am salt. But don't y'all got fresh? I know y'all got freshwater fish that are rather aggressive. And don't they get to be? And there's one in particular that you mentioned earlier that I was thinking of, and I'm trying to think of the.
What, the sturgeon?
Yeah, don't sturgeon get to be rather large?
They do, but I don't know if they have scales.
All fish have scales.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
No, your catfish, for example, your bullhead do not have scales. They have skin.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
Um.
Learned something new tonight, folks. I did not know the catfish just had skin. I thought they had scales.
No, they have skin.
Okay.
The same year, 2 more sightings would occur. One would be classified as a now standard run-in with Bozo, while the other would be remembered as the most memorable and humorous encounter to date. The first encounter involved a local fisherman who was fishing in this. What?
I was welcoming whoever's in the.
The first encounter involved a local fisherman who was fishing in the same vicinity where the scale was found. The man claimed that he was casting his rod off the end of Picnic Point. A large snake-like monster with blackish green scales and huge jaws rose up out of the water not more than 100 feet away from where he stood. Can you imagine being that close to something?
No,
like this?
I can't. No.
The man.
The closest thing I've gotten to anything that scared me like that was the time with that black bear or that brown bear that I told you about, or black bear actually.
Yeah.
That would be the only way I could relate to anything like that.
The man, paralyzed with fear, watched as Bozo silently moved through the water, eventually turning in his general direction. After staring for a few moments, the man fled in fear, leaving all his fishing gear along Picnic Point.
Gotta go.
I wonder if he ever went back and got his fishing gear.
I don't know. That's a good question. Or did somebody else pick it up along the line later on down the line?
Yeah.
Abandoned fishing gear.
This next encounter, yes, it's definitely humorous, and I think it's actually kind of cute. The second encounter, which is frequently talked about in Madison, and
hello and welcome.
Somehow I'd heard about this, and when I read about it, that's when I was like, oh my Lord. Again, it's frequently talked about in Madison. It involved a college couple, a dock, and the tongue of a serpent.
The tongues. Ooh.
While out sunbathing on a dock behind a frat house one day, a young couple decided they wanted to hang their feet in the water while soaking up the sun.
I remember you telling me.
It is reported that the pair positioned themselves on their stomach with the boyfriend's head turned one way and the girlfriend's head turned the other. As they laid in silence, the girl began to slowly bob her feet up and down in the water. Laying with her eyes closed, she soon heard a splash in the water and figured it was her boyfriend jumping in the lake. Continuing to move her feet, she suddenly felt something tickling the bottom of them. Surprised, the girl pulled her feet up and asked her boyfriend to stop. As she lowered them once more into the water, they were quickly being tickled yet again. Now annoyed, the girl raised up to yell at her boyfriend, only to find him asleep on the dock beside her. The young woman instantly pulled her feet up out of the water and looked behind her.
I bet she did.
There in front of her, rising up out of the water, was Bozo. Its long tongue was slipping in and out of its mouth as its head and neck moved side to side. Terrified, the young lady woke up her boyfriend, and the pair ran back to the frat house faster than they had ever run before. Bozo continued to watch before slinking back down into the depths of Lake Mendota. Sightings of Bozo would continue well into the 1940s, but they would never be as up close and personal as the ones that took place in the early 1900s.
That's crazy.
Eventually, they would start to thin out, and soon they would end altogether. Some still claim that even though the creature wasn't being physically seen anymore, it was still in the lake. Boats and canoes would frequently be flipped while out on the lake, and strange churning and bubbles would often be seen moving through the water. While some shouted monster at these occasions, others believed the cause was nothing more than inexperienced boaters out on the lake or lake sturgeons swimming along the surface.
See, I wonder. Let's see that. My belief is that some of this could be sturgeon. They do get to be rather large. From what
I remember watching that video with you.
Yeah. So.
But. Visuals.
Yeah.
Greenish black. That sturgeon that we saw
was
whitish.
Was a whitish gray. That's true.
Okay.
There's yeah.
So what happened to Bozo? Did the lake monster move on to the Ohio River to a new home? Or did it possibly die of old age? Nobody can truly say for certain. But whatever the case, though, there doesn't appear to be anything out of the ordinary currently living in Lake Mendota. Remember, a lake doesn't receive the title of most studied lake in the United States without documenting anything and everything that lives within it. Besides, when a lake has a remote sensor buoy in it that monitors the impact of all natural and anthropogenic influences within the global lake ecological observatory network, Leon, it would be a little hard for a monster to stay hidden. Oh yeah, one more thing. You want to know the Gleon buoy? What the Gleon buoy's name is?
What's that?
David Bowie. By the way, I will admit, this article I pretty much stole in its entirety from the Pine Barrens Institute.
Okay, so that comes from the
that
article came from the
Pine Barrens Institute.
Okay, so the proper credit is given. The article she just read about this did come from the Pine Barrens Institute.
Now,
yes,
the last cryptid one that we did.
Right.
You had discussed a goat man.
Yes.
There's a goat man in Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So I made sure to get some information on him.
Okay.
Wisconsin legends tell of a sinister half-man, half-goat creature that stalks the woods and back roads of the Kettle Moraine State Forest, searching for his next victim, which I've actually been up to the Kettle Moraine State Forest area.
Okay.
There is a place out there called Old World, Wisconsin in that area.
I still go back
to a living history museum.
I still go back to the philosophy. Why did Teddy Roosevelt
create those forests?
What's he hiding? What is being hidden in the national forest?
Well, this is a state.
It doesn't matter. It's still what's being hidden in the state and national forests.
It is said he has a bad temper, a worse odor, and unlike most legends, people have actually encountered goat man, in recent years. According to author J. Nathan Couch in his book Goatman, Flesh or Folklore, local legends suggest the Goatman lurks down numerous back roads across Wisconsin. He can be found along Marsh Road and Wega. I think.
Wow.
Forgive me, I don't know how to pronounce everything in Wisconsin. Just because I lived there for a good portion of my life doesn't mean I know how to pronounce everything up there. Where he brutally killed 2 teens on a quote-unquote makeout couch in the woods. Or in rural Ozaki County areas, such as Newburgh and Grady Park in Saukville. He also stalks the thickly forested area around Auburn Lake in Fond du Lac County. 2 of the most fascinating Goatman stories come from Washington County, where 2 roads have vastly different but equally terrifying legends. South Mill Road, or Goatman's Road, in Kewaskum, and the dreaded Hog's Back Road. Just outside of Kewaskum is the mostly unpaved South Mill Road that leads from Highway 28 through the woods to a dead end in the Milwaukee River floodplain forest state natural area. So again, this time it's a state natural area,
Right?
State park.
Right.
The dirt road itself can be a challenge to navigate, especially after rainfall, and the mosquitoes are practically prehistoric in their size and appetite. But if the blood-sucking beasts and the potholes don't get you, you may still have to contend with Goatman.
Oh.
There's said to be an abandoned house in the woods here where the Goatman once lived. He's said to have been a violent alcoholic who beat his wife to death one night.
Wow.
Afterward, he went out to beat his goats as well. But one of them managed to mortally wound him with his horns, and he bled out.
That'll teach him.
Too terrible to remain dead, Couch writes. He once again stalked the woods as a violent goat-like abomination. In the fall of 2003, hunter Jason Miller had a shocking personal encounter with the creature in these woods that he recounted to Couch. It was bow hunting season, and if you don't already know, those in Wisconsin take their hunting, whether it be rifle, bow, whatever, very seriously.
Black powder. Because they're all looking for the 30
point buck.
The 30 point buck. That's correct.
If I could get away with it, I would play 30 point buck for these folks so they'd hear it.
Right.
But
it's
copyright won't let me.
No.
If anybody's interested, look it up. It's by a group called the Upers, which stands for Upper Peninsula.
Which is in Michigan.
Yes. Anyway, it was bow hunting season. Miller was in his tree stand waiting for a trophy buck. But instead of a deer, an angry, foul-smelling Goatman wandered into the clearing. He described it as the size of a deer, tan and gray in color. It had the body of a goat with a human head and arms and a long white beard. It was swearing and complaining of a trespasser. Miller waited silently until it wandered off, then climbed out of the tree and quickly left, fearful to ever return to the area. The land all around Holy Hill is haunted and full of terrors. One deadly winding road nearby is a testament to that. The Goatman of Hog's Back Road is said to dart out in front of unsuspecting travelers, causing them to veer off the sharply curving road and plummet off the steep edge into the countryside below so he can drag them off for an easy kill. They say the woods used to be littered with the rusting husks of these wrecks, their occupants never found. According to some, Goatman even had a ramshackle house on Hog's Back Road. The Goat Man legend actually goes all the way back to the 1870s. The story tells of a young newlywed couple traveling down the road at night to reach their new home when one of their wagon wheels broke.
We're going to have to remember this for next year. We don't want to take a wagon anywhere.
No.
No.
And you keep talking about a carriage ride.
Well, that's in Colonial Williamsburg on a paved road.
Okay.
I'm not taking you out into the woods or nothing.
The man told his wife to wait in the wagon while he ran back to town to get help. The wife waited. And waited.
And waited.
Eventually, she heard rustling outside the wagon and peered out, hoping to see her husband had returned. Instead, she saw a hairy beast in the moonlight, standing upright on two legs with the horns and long muzzle of a goat. She screamed and cowered in the wagon until morning. Her husband still had not returned. Excuse me. She emerged in the daylight and began searching for him. There at the edge of the forest, the ground had a large oak tree. The ground around a large oak tree was drenched in blood, Couch writes. She looked up to find the mutilated remains of the man she just married dangling from a gnarled limb. That old oak was said to have remained for decades after. It became known as, quote, the hanging tree. Local boys would bring unsuspecting dates there for a scare. Some would hang dummies from the tree with a noose. Quote, one Hartford woman informed that effigy hangings at the tree became a Halloween tradition, Couch says. Others recalled how the tree became covered in crudely spray-painted pentagrams by the 1980s, implying the Goatman may have taken on satanic connotations in some circles. The tree was eventually cut down to put an end to it, but that doesn't mean Goatman isn't still hanging around Hogsback Road waiting to bring the next unsuspecting traveler to their grisly fate. Now, I know you tried to do some research.
I looked into a few things, but to be honest, I didn't really get into the nitty gritty of any of it, to be honest. I was looking into that Goat Man to make a comparison, and I pretty much found the same things you did.
Yeah.
I was just curious to see if the stories were even remotely correlated as being close to the same, but they weren't. There was one that turned out to be a hoax. Do you have the one that?
Yeah, that was the Hodag.
The Hodad, yes.
Or Hodag.
The Hodag. Did we mention him already?
No, I was going to in just a moment, but
Okay.
I wanted to go back for just a second. Bozo.
Yes.
Like I said, I searched for Winnebago and the other word, and it was Nanabozo. Nanabozho was the closest I could come.
Nanabozo. Yeah.
Also known as Nanabush, is a spirit in Anishinaabe, particularly among the Ojibwe. Part of the world's creation. He's a trickster spirit, often in the form of a rabbit.
Okay. That's the first I've heard of a rabbit being a trickster spirit. I've heard of a number of different things being trickster spirits, but never a rabbit. So, yes, every culture has its trickster god, supposedly.
Yes, the Hodag. Oh, good gracious.
Was proven outright to be a hoax, correct?
No, the man admitted.
So it was proven to be outright.
That there wasn't the fact that it was proof; it was admitted.
And the pictures
It
that you
appears
see,
some critter resembling a large
I'll tell you in a minute.
bull-horned carnivore, which I've heard partially resembling a dragon, with a row of thick, curved spine down its back. The hodag was said to have been born from the ashes of a cremated oxen as the incarnation of the accumulation of abuse the animals had suffered at the hands of their masters. The history of the hodag is strongly tied to Rhinelander, Wisconsin, where it was claimed to have been discovered.
Mm.
The articles claimed the hodag had the head of a frog, the grinning face of a giant elephant, thick, short legs set off like huge claws, the back of a dinosaur, and the long tail with spears at the end.
Mhm.
But
Like a triceratops?
kinda.
Okay.
And there's actually, they have the Rhinelander. I want to say that the high school
Mm-hmm.
has it as their mascot.
It looks, if any of you ever see pictures of it,
You can. There actually are pictures of
There-
statues.
yeah,
of it.
there are pictures. And one of the pictures I saw, I swear to you, it looked like Jim Henson decided he was going to try to draw this thing.
Yeah, it
and
very much looks like a Henson creation.
yeah, it very
just
much,
Not
right.
Yeah, just the drawing of it.
Well, yeah,
It doesn't look like the finished Muppet.
No, it's not a finished, but it definitely looks like a Henson creation.
Let's see, actually.
And I'm not saying that he did. I'm just saying that's what came to my mind when I first saw it. Some sort of a Henson creation.
Yeah, it's got long, curved claws. It's got a dew claw, for lack of a better way to put it, that's sticking out of the back of its legs, curving backward. It has very dragon-like eyes. Oh, somebody's crying. It has bull-like horns sticking out of its head. It has a mouthful of sharp and
Excuse me, folks.
the long, sharp canines.
Mm-hmm.
It has
They're very jagged teeth.
it has spikes all the way down its back with longer spikes at its tail. It looks like there's a picture of it at 3monthinchicago.blogspot.com. I think that's where the picture I'm looking at is from.
Okay. Does it say why the guy created the hoax? Did he go into it, or he just said that he just?
I don't recall ever seeing why he created the hoax, but I believe the high school has adopted it as its mascot. I believe the city has kind of adopted it as well. Yeah, it very much looks like a Henson creation, but not in puppet form.
No, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, this was somebody's idea of a joke. That was the immediate thought I had.
Let's see if I can find out.
Next week's show, while you're looking that up, we're going to do Cryptids of Virginia. I'm going to try. I had a personal experience. I used to be a Boy Scout, and we have a camp. We have several Boy Scout camps here in the area. Baker, Chickahominy, and one or two others that are currently eluding my memory. But at Camp Baker, there is said to be the Baker Monster. I will say that is very much a possibility there was something out there, just from experiences that I've had. So we're going to cover that. I'm going to cover some of the cryptids We had swamp foot back in 1980, or swamp foot or skunk foot, depending on who you talk to. I've heard it both. I've heard both. Which was really supposed to be a Bigfoot sighting. There in the Dismal Swamp, which I'm not far from. You could literally hit the swamp. I grew up in part of the Dismal Swamp, but not the marshiest part. So we're going to discuss him, and I know that the western part of the state also has a number of other cryptid creatures. So we're going to discuss a few of those, and I think after that we're going to end the cryptid. The cryptid series. I think 3 is enough.
If you would like, I've got the story of the hodag.
Well, go for it. Yeah, by all
means.
And
this is actually from wisconsinlife.org. So if you'll all bear with me and bear with me stumbling through it,
no worries.
I can actually read you the story.
And this is from where again?
wisconsinlife.org.
wisconsinlife.org. Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
Let's see. This was done by Emily Bright on April 1st of 2016.
Okay.
It says practical jokes and hoaxes are par for the course on April Fool's Day. More than a century ago, an elaborate hoax helped form the identity of one northern Wisconsin town. The year is 1893. Gene Shepard, a respected timber cruiser, stumbles into a logging camp and begins the story of his life. He has encountered a vicious beast, the great black hodag. Spikes all the way down its entire length of its body with a fistful of razor-sharp pointed spears at the end of its tail, fangs that would rival a saber-toothed tiger. Could rip out the belly of the biggest bear, says Jerry Schittle, former Rhinelander mayor who portrayed Shepard in reenactments. Shepard had a group of lumbermen led a group of lumbermen into the woods to capture the beast with dynamite and returned with charred remains. A photograph of the reenacted kill was published widely. Shepard was a prankster and a spendthrift. In one side business, he sold perfumed moss through the mail. When he had a creditor knock on his door, he'd stuff a bar of soap into his mouth and he'd lather it up. And then he'd turn around and kind of snarl at people. And they'd just run because they didn't know whether he was rabbit or not. But the hodag story was different. Shepard kept it up for years. He found the hodag. He captured the hodag. He kept the hodag in his barns, the Shedell. People came from all over to see it. Shepard would have on a nice suit of clothes and disappear from sight. The motion would then become horrendous, growling and snarling, snapping and breaking, ripping and tearing. After a minute or 2 or 3, Shepard would come running back up the stairs with his clothes in tatters. He would tell the people, "I'm really sorry. I can't show you the hodag today. He's just not viewable today. He's angry." Soon he was making the county fair circuit. His sons worked behind the scenes, making the monster move.
Hey, Captain Starling, welcome. How are you?
Shepard earned up to $500 in a weekend, which means up to 5,000 viewers were paying a dime to see the hodag.
Wow.
He kept it up until Smithsonian sent a reporter to investigate. He refused to be duped. He wanted to see the evidence, and then, of course, Shepard had to admit the truth. But the joke still stands. Rhinelander still has the hodag as a mascot for the city and the high school. Hodag statues lying downtown like a cow parade with fangs. Any town can claim a real creature for a mascot, Chevelle says. Thanks to Gene Shepard, Rhinelander is unique and proud of it.
There you go.
So now you know the legend and background of the hodag.
The hodag. So be careful if you go to Rhineland or Wisconsin. That's all I got to say.
You might get a visit from the vicious hodag.
You might indeed. Like I said earlier, we're going to do that pretty much covers everything that we have on the cryptids of Wisconsin.
You're safer going to visit Chicken Road and Alley, whatever, and go
Shadow Alley, Chicken Road and Shade or Shallow Shady Alley. Yeah.
Go see the
ghost chickens.
Phantom chickens.
The phantom chickens. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was new. I had never heard that one. That was definitely different. But like I said, next week we're going to end the cryptid series with one last show. I'm going to do some of the cryptids of Virginia.
Which I'll try to see what I can find.
Yeah. We did have a sighting here in 1980. There is a number of cryptids supposedly out in the western part of the state. So it should be an interesting end to the series. I think we even have a Mothman sighting. So I'm going to do a little.
There's always the vampire that's buried in Hollywood Cemetery.
That's true. There is in Richmond. In Richmond, we have a Hollywood cemetery, and there's.
Does that count as a cryptid?
Yes, I would say so. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a poll. Does the cryptid of Hollywood Cemetery?
Does the vampire of Hollywood
Yeah, that's right. Does the vampire of Hollywood Cemetery in Richmond, Virginia, count as a cryptid? Yes or no? That I will put that poll in the. I will make a poll and have that put into the community page, and you all can tell me whether you think it is or not.
And if it is, then I can see what I can find out about it.
Absolutely. So we'll go with that. I appreciate those of you who have joined us.
We both do.
Captain Starling, it's always good to see you. I wish I had seen more of the pirates. Hopefully, we're going to be getting back into some more of the serious history. But we just decided we wanted to do this series. Yeah, have a little fun with this. It's always good to see Captain Starling. She's been a very big supporter of the channel, as have a number of the pirates.
And she'll know what this is about. Thank you again.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again. It is. Yes.
You're wearing my hat.
Yeah, well, okay. I grabbed yours by mistake. Whatever. I thought I would grab mine. But anyway, I was cold. I had to chill. If you all have suggestions for any future shows, I mean, we do have our list. Don't get me wrong, we have a list, but we're always interested in what you all would like to have us talk about.
We're definitely open to suggestions. We love hearing from you guys.
Absolutely. So if you have any suggestions, thoughts on, something for a show.
We know you guys have interest in things and don't always have the time to do the research on them.
We have the time.
Yeah, sometimes we have more time than.
Yeah, sometimes, now this,
we definitely have more time than money.
Oh, that sounded spooky. But yeah, we would absolutely love to hear from you guys. What you all would like for us to present. I know that we've done pirates, and I know we've done bootleggers, gangsters. I try to stay away from ghosts a little bit, at least until around October. I'm just curious. You all, we've done the Oregon Trail.
We did the roadside attractions.
Yep, we did the roadside attractions. Please.
Oh, that's.
Have share. Sharing is a big thing to get the name of the show out.
How many subscribers are we at now?
We're at 553.
Awesome. Thank you.
We are at 550. I believe it was 553. If it's not, it's right in that ballpark. I believe that when I checked it earlier this afternoon, it was at 553. So again, as Mrs. Mutts said, thank you. Please help us get to 1,000. I know that there are people out there who are grifting. I am working on merchandise. There are all kinds of news. I've got I've got several new stickers, designs, shirts,
mugs.
I did the uh, what it is what it is. What about the Mississippi running backwards? We could do that.
That's new to me.
Yeah. I've heard about that. You know what, Captain Starling? Because you suggested that and you were here in the chat, not next week, but the week after, or do you want to just skip the cryptids of Virginia? You know what? No, I want to do the cryptids of Virginia, but the show after that, so 2 shows from now, we will do the Mississippi running backwards. We will look into that. We will do the research on that, and we will do that show. So you got it. You were here. You made your suggestion, and we are more than happy to honor that suggestion. I do want to do the cryptids of Virginia, but after that, it's all you, at least for that show. So thank you. It really is just that easy, folks, to convince us to do a show. I mean, the Oregon Trail was suggested by somebody that is a regular here normally, and that show came out pretty well. Captain Starling, email me. I think you've got my email. I might want to talk to your mom because if she knows about it, she would know more than I would. I'm kidding, of course. I would never actually call your mother. But yeah,
I had just started another
list
and draft,
right?
And that's our list.
Okay,
and that's the first one in there.
Okay, cool. Yep. So
and that's in our mutual.
Email. Okay, cool. Good. So we do have a running list, and I wish you could. I really do. I love to hear stuff like that.
I would love to hear some suggestions from your mom at some point.
My mother, yes. Mom, yeah. That we'll be seeing her this weekend, so I might ask her what. And I'm going. She hates when I mention her by name, or even mention her in the show, but I'm going to do it one more time because I know that she'll watch this later. Mom, if you have any suggestions, by all means, let us know what you think we should talk about on the show. I mean, we can come up with stuff on our own, but
We'd love to hear your ideas as well.
I, for one, personally want to get our viewers involved. It make it more about what their interests are.
And she has a unique perspective because she knows us
right
on a more personal level than
right. So that to me is kind of that kind of thing to me is very important, is to get the interaction from our subscribers.
Definitely.
Because they're more than, in a lot of cases, they're more than just subscribers. These are people that we've actually taken the time to get to know in some cases.
Right.
So their opinions matter. And I feel it's important. Captain Starling, like I said, she's a huge supporter of the channel. And very much appreciated. And I value her opinion. So, I guess I'm babbling now, but I really want to stress that point.
Yes, we definitely want to be interactive with our subscribers and viewers. Or
Captain Starling, I'll be honest with you, if I could get her on the channel, I would in a heartbeat. My mother has stories for days.
She is such a character.
My mother,
I love her to death.
She has stories for days, literally. Like the time that was it the bull, the cow, or the horse? I can't remember which it was. I want to say it was the cow that broke her china dish, and she got mad at it. She grew up in Kentucky. They had all kinds of She grew up with her grandparents, or my great grandparents. So she had all kinds of stories. I can't remember which it was, but one of them broke her favorite one of her favorite china cups for her tea set.
When she was a little girl.
When she was a little girl, and it infuriated her. She got so mad. She still talks about that. But yeah, one of these days, Captain Starling, one of these days, I'll get her talked into coming on and doing an interview. I've just got to promise not to show her face. That would be a big thing for her. I'm still working on it though. Especially when I get to the stories, because she's almost 80 now, and I don't want to lose that history. I know the stories, but sometimes I get some of the facts confused, and I will get a phone call. You got this confused with this, and this is not what this didn't happen at this time. So
she's always going to make sure to set the record straight.
Always.
It's gene jumping. That's kind of where I end up like that. Or I think I annoy some of our viewers about that, or listeners.
So it there's a lot out there that we could discuss. Be on the lookout. We do have some upcoming trips coming up. I'm thinking that we're going to hit a couple of the more local spots now that I believe the Virginia Beach open air market is back up and running. That's a lot of the local a lot of local places here in town and in Norfolk and Virginia Beach and Chesapeake that are privately owned, and they have a big open air market every weekend. I'm thinking about going and revisiting it and getting it recorded again. It was on the old channel. For
those of you who may have missed the video or what have you, Mutt has completed his chemo.
Yes, I have.
Just today, he went for his CT scan.
Yep.
To make sure that he is clean and clear of anything in his system.
And I think we get the results back from that in like 2 weeks.
Probably about right.
I think that's what it is. I have to double check the calendar to see when.
And as long as that comes back clean and clear, then we can move forward with the next surgery we believe.
Well, I have to wait. I think they're going to require me to wait a period of time before that.
But still, that would be the next.
Yeah, but that's the next step to get the colostomy reversed, and then once that's done over and clear, and I heal up from that, y'all look out. I'll be on the rip and run. Mrs. Mutt has already said, "Oh my God, we're never going to see the inside of the house again." I'll
never be able to watch TV again.
And she may be right. There may be series of weekends where we don't see the house, just because I want to go to Williamsburg, I want to go to Yorktown, I want to go to Jamestown, I want to go to, I'd love to take you back down to Kitty Hawk at some point and revisit Kitty Hawk. I did that one before you came home.
Never been.
Yeah. Go down to Hatteras and see the lighthouse down at Hatteras.
I've done that, but I would love to do that again.
I don't know
that I have it in me to climb it.
Oh, I don't know about climbing it.
But I'd like to see the house.
Yeah. Assateague and Chincoteague.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
The ponies of Assateague and Chincoteague. If any of you are interested, I have pictures of the wild horses on Assateague and Chincoteague. I will see about. It's been said that a gift was given to me, a gift of Canva, and that I never used it, which is a lie. I'm not going to say who told that lie, but it was a lie. But if I have enough pictures of the horses, I will happily do a video and put it to music.
I would also like to see maybe about going to First Landing.
Yep, which is here in Virginia Beach, but it is actually where they actually.
And I would like to go to Stanbridge, the park down there, just past the beach.
Yeah. I used to surf down there.
I know there's wild horses down there too, or at least used to be.
Ocracoke. I'm not sure about Sandbridge anymore, but I know Ocracoke Island has them. I know Assateague and Chincoteague have them. There are several, and those horses aren't going anywhere. They are actually state protected.
You guys are lucky.
Yeah, they are.
No,
I know.
No, I'm not just talking about state protection. They have a problem out in Arizona.
They hunt them.
There's somebody out there shooting protected horses.
Yeah.
Illegally.
Well, you shoot a horse on Assateague, you may not get off the island. Those horses are damn near worshipped. So yeah, you'd be doing something to get, because those ponies, there's a topic we can discuss. I would absolutely love that after we do the why does the Mississippi River run backwards for Captain Starling. The history of the Assateague and Chincoteague ponies.
I'm just going to say history of ponies.
History of
the ponies.
Yeah, history of the island.
Because I can't spell island ponies.
Yeah, island. Just put island ponies, and we'll know what that is. So yeah, that's what old Mutts got planned. It said that I don't ever get off the couch. Boy, is that a lie. That's a big lie that's been told. Only because of the colostomy, folks. Only because of the colostomy. Otherwise, I'd be out ripping and running. Believe me, I would be out ripping and running. To bring you all.
I would be begging him, please, can we just stay home today?
Fine.
My back hurts. Can we just stay home today?
Fine. Okay, wait. I hear Scottish music playing, but I don't know who it is, so it is what it is. That's my phone ringing, folks. Actually, grab that. It might be it may be
the mother.
The mother. It may, in fact, be the mother. And if it is, I know she's not watching now, but she does catch the rerun. Does it say, folks?
No, it's the X.
Huh?
The X.
Oh, okay. I'll get up with her in a little bit. All right, folks. I'm going to go ahead and close this out. I have been rambling, and it's just we've had so much going on in the last couple of weeks that we weren't able to do a show.
Things have been a bit nuts, especially with 11 cats in the house.
Yeah, we do have 11 cats. Anybody want a kitten? We got kittens.
We got 4 left that need homes.
We got 4 kittens that need homes. The $50 rehome fee. We got. I'm sure you all have seen the kittens on the page.
On the YouTube channel.
On the YouTube channel.
There's videos. There's pictures.
Yeah, we've got one of the grays, one of the Loki twins, which are the tabbies.
And the 2
black.
Yeah.
So that's what's left.
The 2 Abbey twins.
The Abbeys. Yep.
They're all long fur. They all have long fur like Daddy.
Yep. They're all long haired like their daddy. Who is? If you all saw the video that I posted, yes, I'm talking about you, little girl. You all have seen the daddy. That's low key. He is the father of all of them.
Of the 4 that we have available.
Of the 4 that, yeah, well, it's 4, all 4.
Well, he's technically the daddy of all 8.
All 8 kittens. So yeah. And so if anybody wants one, y'all need, we can work something out. I'm just saying, we would happily, as long as they go to a good home. The only thing we would ask is the occasional picture, just so we can watch our grandcat children grow up a little bit. Anyway, I'm done rambling. I'm the Mutt.
I'm Mrs. Mutt.
And this has been a conversation with the Mutts. We look forward to talking to you all again next week. Till then, stay safe and be good to each other.
Thank you for joining us.
All right. Y'all take care. And we are going to be out here in just a second. Captain Starling said she's allergic.